I'm Courtney Boyce.
I'm Derek Olthius, and you're listening to the Drop Jaw Podcast.
Boom!
You may have to catch it for me. I grew up, Jason always like hogging all the fish, and then no one else gets to catch anything.
Nothing's changed.
I'm Simon Gorsworth, and you're listening to the Drop Jaw Flies podcast.
I wish I could sit down and have a conversation with the trout and go, "So, Mr. Trout, why do you like those worms so much?"
Stick 'em solid.
Welcome to the Drop Jaw Flies podcast, your source for fly fishing talk, tips, and stories. In this episode, Jason and I take a break from fishing on the bank of our reservoir to talk warmer weather fishing. We discuss warm weather challenges and cover some tips and techniques that can help catch big fish in warmer water. We also do a quick rundown of a few of our flies that we've had success with to date. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, you'll see footage of where and how we prefer to fish. In the high-lonesome, in remote and beautiful solitude. If you enjoy our podcast, let us know. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and our YouTube channel. I am Chad Nelson, along with my co-host, Jason Arvey. Here is today's podcast.
We hiked a ways to get here, didn't we?
We did, probably, I don't know. It wasn't a flat hike. It was definitely a steep drop, like a parachute would have been good. We could have just jumped off a rock and parachuted into the cove that we wanted to fish.
That would definitely have been easier.
That would have. We need to find a helicopter service to get us out of here now.
Yeah. Well, we just cooked up some tinfoil dinners, made a fire. This is a first for us. We normally just fish morning to night, eat a few power bars along the way, but we decided to stop and shoot a quick podcast back here. We are transitioning from spring fishing to summer fishing, and so we kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit this morning, or I guess it's afternoon now. So Jason, explain what we've been experiencing and what's different from the fishing that we did in the spring versus what we're experiencing today.
Yeah, it's a typical summer pattern where when we first showed up on the shore this morning, it was probably around 6:30 or 7, and the fish were just in a feeding frenzy, but it was on top. And they were eating calabatus, emergers, midges, and even some caddis were coming off, and there were some really large fish that were eating those.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going to throw streamers, right? So we did, and we got some follows, and I got some hits, but I just couldn't hook anything up. There was really snappy hits, not the clamp down on your fly to eat it. It was just kind of a snap, and unfortunately, we didn't hook up anything. So, but that happens this time of year. So we also got to take a little bit of a nap just to coincide with the fish. They kind of stop feeding now. So it's the beginning of summer, and the fish's feeding patterns are going to be early. You might get some type of a late afternoon bite, but later in the evening is where we're probably going to catch our fish now. So I don't know, it's time to do nature hikes in the middle of the day. Photography.
Yeah.
As far as streamers go.
We brought a thermometer, and the water temperature is just over 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's quite different from what we were experiencing a month ago, 2 months ago. Today's the end of June, near the end of June. So water's warmer, and so the fish, like Jason said, they're going to come up early in the morning to feed. So we kind of have to change our tactics too.
Yeah.
In the spring, we could kind of sleep in and get up here at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and the water was still cold and the fishing was good.
It was awesome.
Really good.
And 60 is not a bad temperature for fishing, but it's just so many insects are available to the trout right now that, they're not going to feed like that all day.
Yeah.
Even though the temperature's not harmful to them, 60 degrees is good, but they're full already.
If we weren't such streamer junkies, we would have put a dry fly on and thrown that out there. I think we would have hooked up several.
Yeah, maybe next time. Next time we'll probably maybe play with that.
Yeah.
But what do you say? Should we run down, just summarize spring till now really quick?
Yeah.
In our flies?
Yeah, go for it.
So in the late fall, guys, what we left off with fishing was the big juvenile trout and our big chub patterns. And so to start off in the spring also, I would usually start fishing this darker juvenile trout, and it's come through the summer in pretty good shape. Up until now anyway. I caught some nice fish on this darker one. And also, as the days heated up, I kind of went back to the white version when we threw the big fly. So, had a lot of fun with this. And it's also in good shape, and I'll just tuck that away until we hit a big river, or when we get out on the boat and go really deep. So this one's probably won't be using this one a lot from here on out, at least from the maybe super early in the morning we still will. We're gonna go through a couple of these. Also, just to let you guys know, if you don't know already, you can buy the heads for $10, or you can buy the skeleton kit, which comes with all 3 hooks, comes with the articulating wire, the beads, the weights, and it comes with the rattle as well. And you can tie this up. We do have a tutorial on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have fun doing that, or you can purchase them off our website too. All right, Chad, what was your favorite one?
Hand me a baby whitey, man.
We've got a bunch of these smaller versions for sale right now too.
Yeah, so I think for me, definitely this fly I had the most success with. This is our baby whitey, articulated, 2 hooks, and it's our smallest fly, and this is just a pleasant one to throw for me, to cast with. But also, just that pattern, gray with some white in it, it just really seems to attract the fish in all weather conditions, whether it's sunny out or cloudy, morning or night. This is just a good all-around go-to fly.
It is. This probably we could catch fish on this consistently all throughout the day, but it's fun to experiment and see kind of where the fish are at with the different flies, and see if we can't get a big one. So baby whitey, these are also in stock all the time, and great fly. Using one this morning, and this is the one that I got my hits on, but I was either tired, I don't know what the deal was, just couldn't. Happens to us too.
Well, Jason and I typically don't fish the same flies. We like to each try different ones out and see who's catching them and who's not. So he went white this morning, I went black. He got a lot of hits. I got a couple, but neither of us hooked any up.
So I wanted to throw this one out too, because we had a lot of success on this about a month ago, probably maybe even 6 weeks ago. In this reservoir there's a lot of crayfish and there's a lot of red side shiners. So what this is, the mini trout head, and this is a 3 hook version. You obviously can use shanks if you don't want to have the 3 hooks there, but when this starts kicking around, it can look like a crayfish, and it definitely looks like a shiner, and there is just a ton of action there. We did really well with this fly. And again, you can purchase this head. We don't have a fly for sale with this version, but you can buy the head, and I think maybe end of July probably have a tutorial on how to tie this one.
We should maybe sell it. That was my number 2. There's days we just killed it with that fly.
We did. This has so much action, and it's not huge. You can still In the streamer world, it's, I don't know, 4.5, maybe 5 inches sometimes, and we just killed it on this one this year. So always going to have these with us.
Yes.
Okay, and as we progress into the fall, I would not, at least on our reservoir, I would not be without this one either. And this is a version of a chub, and it's about that size that the cutthroat really like to eat, and it's about close to the 6-inch mark. But that head throws a ton of water, and it has a lot of kick too. So, and at least in our reservoirs, and a lot of them in Utah, we have the Utah chub, which is what this head represents. And you can also buy these heads off of our website. Tie yourself a chub fly. So that's probably, a good example of what we usually throw. We probably have half a dozen flies that I carry and that you carry, and
Yeah.
we just don't need a whole lot really to. You find you come cross paths with a big cutthroat, and they're going to eat it or not,
Yeah.
or get you really excited when they follow and then move off.
And we usually pack a few other flies with us, like a San Juan worm, a stimulator, but for some reason, we just don't ever tie those on.
The black woolly bugger,
Yeah.
because of tradition and everything, I will carry those with me, and I do have some. Probably should have tried that earlier,
Yeah.
but we didn't.
Well, we just always like to see, how our flies do, especially, like conditions this morning when they're feeding on top. How's our fly going to do?
Yeah,
We got chases, we got some hits, we just didn't hook any up. So,
happens.
yeah.
Maybe once a year? No, that happens pretty often.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. What I was just going to mention this, Chad, because this condition is so common in the West and really throughout the country when the temperatures warm up and you get a lot of daylight on the water. You are going to have to plan on fishing the early or late, or when it's cloudy, even in the afternoon. The light goes down, and fish will feed on bigger items then. So that's kind of what you should plan your trip around, at least on reservoirs and lakes.
Yeah. So Jason, today, at least up here where we're at, it's about 85 degrees. It's a warm day, kind of overcast, but what's the strategy for this afternoon?
This afternoon, we're going to let our food digest. I don't know about you, but man, maybe another nap might be in order. So we're on a point right here. As the point kind of goes out into the reservoir, it's pretty shallow, and then on both sides of it, it slopes off, but it's not deep enough. So what Chad and I have to do now is we're going to go backtrack and go to a different point that has a really steep drop off. And somewhere in that drop off, the cutthroat are going to be hanging off that point feeding, but they'll be in the water where it's not too bright for them, and also it's maybe better temperature. And so that's what we're going to go look for right now. As soon as we find that, then we'll start probing the depths. Probably don't have to worry about the top, that top section of the water column. They're not going to be there.
No.
At least not right now in this part of the day. So I'm probably going to start stripping, about 10 feet, and then work my way down.
Yeah. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. We're going to backtrack to a place we fished a few weeks ago where we had success, and it was warmer conditions then, but about 10 feet down is where we were getting hit. So we need to find deeper water where I think the fish are in that 10 to 15 foot range.
Yeah. So we'll go probe that. We still have our 8 weights. We've got our 8 weight, 9 weight. I've even got a 10 weight line on. And we probably have 8 foot. I've got an 8 foot leader on now because the water's really cleared up. And normally I'd be using 20-pound fluorocarbon tippet, but today I've got 1X on today.
I just tied 1X on as well.
As soon as the water was a lot clearer this week, and those fish just weren't as aggressive, and so wanted to see if that would make a difference.
Yeah. So I just tied a baby whitey on with 1X. Got a 2-foot tippet. I've got a 5-foot leader, so.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go get one, and we'll take some pictures of it. We might have to hike for a while to find one, or maybe wait for that lower light this evening situation to come about before we get a fish, but let's go do it.
Yeah, there's days where having a boat would make life a little easier, but I tell you what, at our age, we're both over 40, we need the exercise, so we don't mind getting out, hiking some miles, kind of enjoy it actually.
Well, although I would take a helicopter in this situation. I'm not going to lie.
We got a little ambitious today, so we'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Okay, Jason, any parting tips for warmer weather fishing?
If you're going to fish the reservoirs and lakes, to have your best chance of success would be to arrive. Give yourself plenty of time to get here even before the sun comes up, half hour before the sun comes up, or to where you can barely see to tie a knot. Mm-hmm. And that usually, you should be in a good situation to catch a big fish then. Yeah. And so that's what I would try and shoot for if you can. If you don't have that opportunity, then get a boat, get some type 6 or some really good sinking line, and start probing the depths with that in the afternoon, because you still get a fish to bite. You just have to be in the right spot to do it. But fishing from the shores, obviously, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, that's why we got to find a steep drop off, so where we can get our flies down deep right from shore. So let's go do it, man.
Okay. Stick 'em solid.
Stick 'em solid.
All right, friends. Thanks for listening to the Drop Jaw Flies podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or our website, www.dropjawflies.com. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or our YouTube channel. Now get out there and hook a big one and stick 'em solid.